everybody, and welcome back to this version of the Purpose and Profit Sisterhood podcast. I am here today with the fabulous and amazing Paul Finck, who I have stories about that I will share possibly if we have time from the Marketer's Cruise and his events and so forth. But thank you so much for being here, Paul. Good to see you again.
Jeanette, absolute pleasure to be here. And now you've got me intrigued. Stories?
Yeah, exactly.
What are we sharing?
Well, actually, I will share this one story that I think it was on this last podcast or Marketer's Cruise that I walked up to you and said, I'm referring you to a bunch of people because intuitively, I think you have a really good heart, but I don't actually know you. So I should probably get to know you because I should probably, do some due diligence about who I'm referring people to. And you were very kind and gracious and spent a lot of time with me on the cruise, getting to know one another so that I could refer you with confidence and knowing who you are. And that, yes, my intuition was right. You do have a great heart and you are a very smart man, and coming to your event and seeing, the value you provide and so forth also made it reinforce my initial impression. So that was one of the things was I'm referring people. I should probably know who you are. And you were just about okay, let me sit with you for a while.
All right.
That was it. All right, awesome. And I'll tell you a little bit more about Paul, then we're going to leap into his topic, which is all about creating sustainable, scalable businesses. Paul Finck is the Maverick Millionaire. Paul brings to the table a vast array of knowledge and skill sets from 36 plus years of sales, marketing, and entrepreneurial life experience. Starting with the desire, he started when he was 4, that's why. Starting with the desire to be great, Paul learned from several of the biggest names out there and dared to be different. He dared to be a maverick. His successes include moving multi-million-dollar businesses in real estate, multi-millions of dollars in real estate, and over 20 million in informational products. Ooh, that's a lot. With his primary focus on multiple streams of income, he's built up several businesses and now speaks and coaches internationally, teaching others how they can create their success in their own lives while doing it differently, the Maverick Way. One of the things I love about you is that, you've turned oppositional defiance into a monetizable business. I love it. So welcome. All right, so that's the official side of things. Now, yes. Of course, we want to know all about the unofficial side. And I always tell my guests that the juicier, the better. So tell us something about you we wouldn't guess by reading your bio or your website.
Oh, that you wouldn't guess. Juicier, the better. Well, first of all, one of the things that is on my website, however, is a significant part of who I am is that I've got 6 children.
Yes.
So I've got 3 sets of twins, and that's really key, is understanding that is a cornerstone of my why, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And it propelled me to a whole nother level of who I am and what I do and how I operate, because I had 6 kids looking at me saying, "Hey, what's up?" Yep. So 3 sets of twins. Yes, it's a lot. I was changing. We had 6 kids under 6 years old. So we had 4 in diapers simultaneously. So we were doing about 20 to 24 diapers a day. So most people cannot comprehend that level.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's really key.
Well, the connection that I just made that I think is hilarious is we were talking about your gift earlier, and that part of it is an ebook on time management and thinking about time differently. And it's like, wow, you really practice what you preach. Even in your procreation, you were very efficient. 6 kids and 3 shots. Like, way to really double down on the time management in your family building.
Yes, I talk a lot about building your great team and building, a community. And so I don't have to tell you, you don't all have to do it from scratch like I did. You don't have to build a whole village by birthing them all. You can do it, just naturally attract them. However, it certainly helps.
Yeah.
And we tease a lot. And the understanding I will talk about, and I do have an offer, so hang out till the end to get this, only a whole understanding of time management
Mm.
And how we engage in time is one of the cornerstones for business and for scaling business and building business. And one of the things that people look at all that I've done, and they ask, how did you do it? And one of the ways was understanding this concept of time. And the proof of the pudding is I built the major portion of our success and the foundation for everything I have now while all my kids were small.
Mm.
My wife worked with me, so it was the two of us building this business while all the kids were small. While other people use it as an excuse, we used it as a motivational component.
Mm-hmm.
And we built the business being efficient, effective,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding how to parent, how to communicate and engage. And now my kids are 21 is the youngest, about to turn 22. And with that, we've gone through the test of time
Mm-hmm.
so that we can show you and tell you, here's how we managed ourselves and managed our time to create a magnitude of results. Stop using the excuses in life and
Mm-hmm.
recognizing, regardless of where you're at and your circumstances, you too can create just amazing abundance, amazing success, and amazing joy and happiness in your life, irregardless of the excuses that so much of our world uses to get in
Yes,
their way.
exactly. So on that note, tell us about your why. How did you turn what could have been an excuse into your motivator? Tell us about your why.
So the why goes another generation. So going forward with being the father and the husband, actually, it's a reflection of going backward to how I was a child and watched my parents. And one of the things that I recognized is that my father wasn't doing all he could do. My father wasn't stepping up to meet his obligations, wasn't making the hard decisions in life. And what I mean by that is, he fooled around with my mother most of her life, most of my life, I should say, since I was a baby. He engaged in the behavior rather than making a strong stand and saying, all right, if this woman isn't right for me, time to move on. I'll go find someone else. Instead, he made the weaker choice. And I used those examples and watched him over the years and recognized that he did that same pattern of behavior in all avenues of his world.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm older. Now I'm looking at building my wife and my relationship with my wife and the relationship with my children and becoming a father and recognizing that I didn't want to repeat the same evils, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be the one that my children looked up to in a different light than I looked at my father, and to say, you've got a strong stance, you've got a strong mind, you've got a strong presence, and I want to model you rather than shun you. And what does that look like? And so every day I look to be the best husband I can be, the best father I can be, the best business person I can be, and look at that as a guiding light, as being my why, is so that I'm not like my father and I don't end up in the same space.
You and I came from similar backgrounds in terms of pushing away from what we don't want and what we don't want to be. And I just wrote down, your why as an example of what not to be turned you into the creating who you do want to be. So rather than being the model of what not to do and not to be, being the model of what to do and what to be. And so really we have to bless those people who gave us such strong motivation to go the other direction, to be that other thing. And as much as it was hard, and I hear the pain in that for you, they're such a blessing to give us such a strong motivation to push off of, right?
And I will add, it's so easy to get caught in the negativity of all that. And many people do, where we have something that's angst in our world and we bundle it up and hold on to it rather than utilizing it as a stepping stone and a ladder to greatness. We use it as a weight that holds us down. And that is such an interesting process when you're looking at your why, when you're looking at what to motivate you and move you and how you're going to live your life. I took what was a negative in my world and said, okay, what's this mean for me? And in that way, have used it as a motivator and as a focal point, as a guiding light of a lighthouse, if you will, guiding me every step of the way as to what is the behavior that I want to show, what's the actions I want to do.
Yeah, I love the distinction of we can have it be our anchor or our elevator in terms of which way we take it. But I also really hear what you just said is, you got to have some self-awareness. You got to take a look at who you are, what moves you, what motivates you. And then there's an element of choice, right? Like you chose what very distinctively and intentionally, who do I want to be? Yes. And if not that, then what, right? And crafting vision around that. So those are the components that successful leaders like you do is look inwards, choose, and then turn that vision into a reality. So let's talk about, how do you do that? How do you turn that vision? How do you scale it and sustain it? Because you've been at this a long time. So how do you do that? What is the secret to your success of turning that choice into a tangible reality from that dream?
There's a couple added components to that whole process, and I'll break it down in this way. I'm, by the way, my name is Paul Finck. The Maverick Millionaire is what people call me. And one of the key components is Maverick is I approach things a little bit differently. So instead of doing the ABCs of how to scale and how to build a sustainable business, I'm going to do the DCBA. How's that? So the D is decide. And with all that we talked about, your decision and your focal point into that, Jeanette, is absolutely, we've got to decide what we want. Sometimes that takes a little bit of process, because I remember years ago, they had me do a wish list, right? And you have this wish list and you're writing it all out, and then you get to, you fill it all out, and then you recognize at one point or another, half the things on there, minimum, you really never wanted. Like, why were they on your list? I remember putting down Lamborghini. Now, I don't care anything about cars. Limo me around for the rest of my life, never put me behind the wheel. I'm happy. And yet I put down Lamborghini. Why? Because someone told me wealthy, successful people, that's what they want.
Right.
And so I put it down. So be aware that not everything that first brush is actually what you want.
Yes.
So make a real decisive decision and a decisive effort to figure out what it is that you really want for the future, for your life. The next level is, sometimes we want things like, you go, oh, it would be nice to have that cake. But you're not going to like swim an ocean for it. It's like, it would be nice if it showed up in front of me, right? And so what is your level 10 commitment? Out of all the things that you want, what do you have a level 10 commitment to create, to achieve, to bring into your world? And that's really key. We say we want a lot of things. Oh, I want to be a millionaire. Will we do whatever it takes, barring being legal, ethical, and moral? Great. Am I willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen, to bring that into my life? Level 10 commitment. When the answer is no, adjust your desire, adjust what you want, or increase your commitment. You will not achieve those simultaneously. You've got to, for instance, you want something, you say, oh, I want to make, $1 million this year. Well, unless you're willing to do whatever it takes, wake up early, stay up late, talk to everybody, get past your fears, your blocks, your anxieties, and make it happen, chances are it's not going to happen. Give it up, go for a different goal. Or say, no, I'm going to increase my commitment to it. It's going to happen no matter what.
Yes.
And so usually that boils down to 3 or 4, maybe 5 different focal points that you're going to direct all your energy around till they get accomplished no matter what. And that's really key. So now we've broken this big wish list into your top 3 that you're highly committed to. The next is the B. So the D, the C is commitment. The B is believe. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your company. You've got to believe in your product. You've got to believe in the process. You've got to believe that what you're committing to has a chance, not a given, not an absolute, but at least a chance of happening. That belief system is something that you can continually build, tweak, build teams of support around. Only you've got to believe it. Because if you're simply going, oh man, I'm going to be a billionaire tomorrow. And you go, all right, you could say that 1,000 times, you could like commit to it 100%. And yet, it's not happening tomorrow.
Yep.
And that will sabotage how you actually follow through, how you actually engage, at what level you engage with it. If I said guaranteed, you're going to achieve, I don't know how long it's going to take, but if you knock on 50 doors a day, you are going to achieve your goal of financial success. You're going to achieve a number that you want. You're going to make it happen. You knew that, and you wanted it at a level 10, you would make 50 calls a day.
Yes.
Those are the components. So the belief system is really key. And then finally, we get into action mode. Notice the action comes after you decide where you want to go. You commit to it 100%. You then believe with all your heart and soul. Then you get into action mode. Then the action mode it propels you to success. Those are some of the key components. And what's the rest of the story is where so 2 things happen. People want the rest of the story before they get the basics.
Yeah.
Right? Before they built the foundation, they're already building a skyscraper. Then when the skyscraper falls down, they're like, hey, what happened? You told me how to build a skyscraper. I was like, yes, but you forgot the foundation. And unless the foundation is solid, unless you actually understand exactly what you want it 100%, you actually believe on the process that you're going through, and then you take effective, efficient, persistent, consistent action, doesn't matter what else happens, you're not going to create sustainable success.
Yes.
And that's where you see people go up, down, and sideways in their success, where they win some, they lose some, and they're constantly in struggle because they didn't go to the core and the basics of, do I know what I really want? Am I going after it with a passion? Do I really believe in what I'm doing? Am I 100% committed? All those key components. So we've got to build that.
Yes, absolutely. What I noticed in your list, I love when people have, processing tools like that. I think it's very helpful. What I noticed in your list, so I want you to speak to where you think it comes, is that you didn't have clarity in there. Because one of the things that I know is many of my clients stay out of action because they think they don't have all the answers of how they should proceed and so forth. And I'll often say that action begets clarity, not the other way around. And so being, having that decision, the belief, the commitment, and then the action, what you didn't say was have the plan perfectly clear. So what's your—
God, no.
Yeah. So tell us your perspective on where clarity comes in that process, because I think it was wonderful that it wasn't part of it. So what do you think?
Yeah, that was not a misstep. That is absolutely. And so first of all, in the Maverick, so that becomes obvious that the planning isn't part of it, but it's not because, here's the thing, business plans. And let's talk about that. That's where people go, perfect planning, right? Everybody, you talk to anybody that's new to building a business, new to entrepreneurship, they talk around and they get a whole lot of consultants and help, and they all tell them, go build your business plan, go write your business plan, and then they disappear for the next week, month, 6 months, year, decade.
Yes.
Writing their business plan.
Yep.
The day they open, the business plan goes out the door.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
For someone, I've been almost 40 years, so almost 4 decades building business from scratch.
Mhm.
I've never worked for anybody. I've been an entrepreneur my whole career
Yep.
and building business after business after business. And I got to tell you, the business plan is great for academics. It's
Mhm.
great for the understanding. Listen, you've got to have some idea before someone wants to give you $1 million. They want to know you have some thought in your head. And that's the only reason when you want venture capital money or bank money, that's when you've got to build your business plan. Other than that, there are cornerstones of a business that you want to get clear on. Only the majority of it is going to change, move, flow, manipulate, adjust, all in your process. It's kind of like the idea that you've got a flight plan when you take off to fly from New York to LA, and you've got the flight plan all laid out, all set. However, in journey, you're going to make 1,000 adjustments.
Yes.
For us as entrepreneurs, having an idea of where you're headed is key. Knowing every step between here and there is the fool's game.
Right.
You will never, ever, ever, ever know it. And when you attempt to write it all down and to get clarity before you take off, you're never going to reach your destination.
Right.
Every step, the next one will be revealed.
Yes.
Your focal point is know where you're going. Constantly keep the lighthouse in your eyesight.
Yeah.
And then take the next step. So you know what the next step is. That becomes self-evident as you take each. Only you're then making adjustments to keep the lighthouse in your sight, making adjustments along the way, and continue to take the steps, continue to move forward. And it is the way to create. You're looking for perfection, you're never going to create it.
Yeah. I love, love, love that analogy, especially because I talk about creating revenue runway and building your profit plane and so forth. But that pilots don't plan course corrections while they're on the ground. They make them while they're in flight.
Yes.
I think that's brilliant. You can't plan a course correction. So therefore, you can't plan out the future. You can plan your destination. They know they're going to LA. They know the approximate route, but that's it. And much more beyond that is an exercise in futility and waste of time.
I want to add one more thing to this, which is really key, is that people believe, all right, I've got a game plan, the ones that do create this whole game plan. So let's take the same analogy.
Yep.
They've got the game plan to fly from New York to LA. The destination is LA. What happens with most people's lives is that they end up, oh, there's a storm in front of me.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not going to LA.
Yeah.
Instead of making a course correction that keeps them on task to land in LA, just via a different route. And people miss that.
Yeah.
Is that they end up with this block in front of them, whether it's a stone wall, whether it's a hazard in their way, or in this analogy, in this metaphor, a storm that causes them to have to redirect. They take that as a sign to turn around and go home, to land immediately, to stop their projection towards their destiny, and just end up somewhere else, because that's never going to happen. Instead of keeping your eye on the ball, remember the DCBA, you already are 100% committed to landing in LA. Now the question is, how can I? How can I, based on the new information that just came into play, how can I still land in LA? And that's a question that few people really ask themselves. Exactly.
And it might be, I pause at a different airport and then I carry on. It might be a lot of different responses to that. It's not abandoning the flight or
Right.
the journey or the destination. We don't have much time. There's so much more I want to ask you, but I do want to talk about scaling and sustainability while scaling. First of all, what's the difference between scaling and growing a business? Are they the same?
Scaling and growing a bit. I can bring in, so scaling means that with the same fixed components, with the same profitability, with the same vision of matrix of methodology, I can continue to bring in client after client after client. I can continue to sell not just 10 products, but 100 products and 1,000 products with the same methodology. And most people get in the business without actually analyzing a scalable model. And they'll do this in a few different ways. One is which that they'll figure out, all right, I can deliver X. And so all their marketing and all their plans have to do with them personally being able to deliver a product or service. Well, then there's no plan to even scale. So they sabotage themselves right off the bat. The second way that it happens is that they plan their pricing accordingly. So I've got a product or service. Well, right now it costs me $10 to produce. It costs me 10 hours to produce it. And so I'm going to charge $35. And they'll account for what is today. But wait a second, when they bring in 1,000 new clients, they've got to scale things a little bit different. Do you think they might need a manager? They might need an assistant. They might need a production manager. They might need someone who's in charge of marketing. Wait a second, I didn't account for all their salaries. And so two things happen. Either I have to revamp the whole business, in which case do you think a product selling for $35 can now sell for $65 and sell it to the same market, sell it in the same way with the same branding around? No, it's got to be totally revamped, targeted in with a whole different market. So you built something that couldn't actually sustain.
Yes.
Because it wasn't scalable. The pricing, consider your pricing based on where you will end up being, not where you are today. How the business will develop so that you have a scalable pricing model, not just scalable. Most people think scalable, oh, can I deliver the product? But the pricing becomes such an adjunct to that, where they don't take into account fixed costs versus variable costs and all these things that some business people are not paying attention to. You've got to.
Oh, that one, if you take nothing else, folks, from this, then is your pricing model scalable and sustainable so that it supports you in actually having a business that is also scalable and sustainable, is often not part of the conversation, part of the thinking. You know, people may think, how do I leverage me? But that's often as far as that conversation goes.
Right.
And there's so much more to it than just leveraging you and your time. It's leveraging the model. It's leveraging the pricing. That's brilliant. I love it. Thank you. So tell people how they can find out more about you, how they can work with you, and what is your gift that you have for everyone?
All of it is connected in the above link. MaverickOffer.com makes it simple. I really love simple process to engage. And that link, MaverickOffer.com, will get you right into my calendar. And my offer is to spend some time with you. This isn't a sell-a-thon, and yes, you'll actually be speaking to me. I've learned to delegate everything else in my whole matrix of my business, except for dealing with people directly. And my clients, my prospects, all the people that want to learn how to develop and how to have a better life, you're my focus. And it's where my passion is and where my excitement is. It's why when Jeanette and I were on the cruise together, and she said, oh, you were so generous with your time and your energy, because it's my passion. It's what I do. And I've structured my business around my passion. And it's one of the things I teach. So absolutely, you're going to get a free time with me, a consultation that is truly about how to serve you, how to help you, how to build up your business. and then we'll talk about what else might be available to you. Only the cornerstone of the call is, you're talking to me, let's talk turkey, let's talk about what can really help you.
Exactly. And I highly recommend that you take him up on that. You know, a lot of people, myself included, offer complimentary sessions, and we all know, so that you can find people that you can potentially help, and that you, you know, listen for if there's a match for what you have to offer. But with people like Paul and myself, you're going to get a tremendous amount of value. You're going to get some great input because, like I said, what I knew intuitively was he has a great heart, and he really is committed to walking his talk. So I highly recommend that you take him up on this offer. It's his time is worth a lot. His program is very high ticket. And so getting some undivided attention from him is a very valuable thing. So I highly recommend you go get that. All right, Paul, what's one last thing you'd like to leave people with when they're thinking about this aspect of growing and scaling their business and becoming and playing a bigger game?
No matter what industry you're in, no matter what you want to do, there are people in your industry that have taken, and my prayer is that you're already following your passion, already following where you want to go, centered on your core why. Mm-hmm. And with that, there is somebody absolutely in the universe that has created a huge level of success, both financially and personally, following the same passion. And so one of the things I encourage everyone to do is to recognize you too can do this with the right support, with the right help, with the right acolytes, with all the components playing in your favor. This can happen. The key component that I know I rejected when I was younger, and most people do, is that we don't grab hold of the resources that are right in front of us when they present themselves. Mm-hmm. With everything that we have here, with everything that's going on, and all the people that you're connecting, even simply through this podcast, mm-hmm. The magnitude of people that are here to support you to build your dream life is immense. Take advantage of it every step of the way. Grab hold of everything until you reach your summit. Keep grabbing hold of what life has to offer, and there's so much available to you.
I love that. I've been writing it down as you've been speaking. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate you taking time to be here. I appreciate the really practical tips, and also the inspiration around the vision, because there's lots of people who I call it blow sunshine up people's skirts, you know, that really tout the aspirational way of being in the world. And then there are those who really have walked their talk and want to support people in coming up the mountain with them, getting them up to the top of the mountain. So thank you for being one of those people with that stand and with that commitment for so long. You are an awesome, awesome, awesome example of how to do this with heart. So thank you, Paul.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. Absolute pleasure.
All right, everybody, be bodacious, be bold. Go grab that link by all means, and grab hold of the magnitude of support that is there for you in the universe, just waiting for you to say yes, to step up, and to take action. Have a bodacious week, all. We'll see you all soon. Bye for now.